My wife came back from a business trip laughing until she saw what I found. When Angela came back from her business trip to Chicago, she was glowing. Not just her usual glow from closing a tough deal or surviving back-to-back meetings. This was different. She was radiant, laughing freely, tossing her suitcase onto the couch like it was weightless. Her heels clicked across the hardwood as she headed straight for the kitchen to grab a drink, humming some unfamiliar song under her breath. Normally, I would have smiled, asked her how it went, maybe offered to unpack for her or rub her feet. But not today. Today, I sat silently in the living room, phone in hand, a glass of untouched bourbon on the coffee table. My heart beat so loud I thought she'd hear it before she even stepped inside. I had spent the last 3 days trying to wrap my head around what I'd discovered, trying not to drown in it. Angela didn't notice my silence at first. She was mid-sip when she finally turned and looked at me. The glass paused halfway to her lips. "Hey, babe," she said. "Why are you just sitting there like a statue? You look like you saw a ghost." I didn't answer. I simply raised the phone and hit play. Her laughter faded as the video started. The screen lit up with a shaky shot taken from what appeared to be a hotel lobby security camera. There was no sound, just images. Angela stepping out of an elevator, her coat draped over one arm, her other hand locked tightly with a man I didn't recognize. They were smiling at each other like two people without a care in the world. She reached for the remote on instinct, but I pulled it back. Then came the next clip, them at the hotel bar, their heads close, her hand on his thigh, his lips brushing. Her ear. Angela stopped moving. "Where did you get that?" she whispered. "Does it matter?" She blinked, her lips parting slightly. "No, I mean, how?" "That's a private. Hotel security footage isn't private when you know the right people," I interrupted coldly. "The bartender there? Todd. He's my old college roommate." She sat down slowly on the edge of the coffee table. "This isn't what it looks like, Mark." I let out a bitter laugh. "Of course not. It never is." The silence stretched between us like a loaded weapon. Finally, she looked away, her jaw clenched. "I was going to tell you." "Really? When? Before or after your next business trip?" She flinched at the venom in my voice. "It didn't mean anything. It was stupid. A mistake. Just something that happened. You held his hand in public, kissed him at a hotel bar. That's not something that happened. That's a choice. A series of them." She looked down. "I don't know what to say." "Try the truth." Angela didn't respond for a moment. When she finally spoke, her voice was low. "His name is Ryan. We met at a conference last fall. He's in marketing, lives in San Diego. It started with drinks, then texts, then, I don't know. I felt seen again." That last part stung. "Seen? You're my wife, Angela. You've always been seen." "Not like that," she said quickly, then winced. "I mean, not recently." I looked away, swallowing the anger rising in my chest. "So this is my fault now?" "No, I'm not blaming you. I'm just trying to explain." I stood up. I needed space, air, time. But all I could do was pace. "I built everything for us," I said. "The house, the savings, the future plans. I put off my own dreams to support yours. And now I find out that while I was doing all that, you were running off with Ryan from San Diego." She reached out. "Please, Mark, I'm so sorry." I stepped back. "Don't." Her eyes filled with tears. "I ended it. That night, before I came home. I knew it had to stop." "Because you felt guilty? Or because you got caught?" She didn't answer. "That's what I thought." The silence returned, thicker now, full of things we didn't say. I went to the bedroom, shut the door behind me, and sat on the edge of the bed we'd shared for 10 years. The next few days were a blur. Angela stayed in the guest room. We barely spoke. She sent long texts while at work, apologies, explanations, promises, but I didn't respond. I couldn't. My trust had snapped like a dry branch, and no amount of words could put it back together. Friends noticed. My brother asked if everything was okay. I lied, said we were both just busy. I wasn't ready for the world to know that my marriage, the one I believed was unshakable, was now on life support. One night I came home to find Angela in the kitchen, dinner on the stove. Lasagna, my favorite. The smell filled the house, and for a split second, it felt like things were normal. Then I remembered the video. The man. Her hand in his. And it all came crashing back. "I don't want lasagna," I said, brushing past her. She followed me to the hallway. "Mark, please, let's talk." "I have nothing to say." "I do," she insisted. "Please, just hear me out. One time. Then if you still want me to leave, I will." I sighed. "Fine, 5 minutes." She nodded and sat at the table. I sat across from her, arms folded. "I messed up," she began. "I got caught up in something stupid and selfish. It wasn't about you. It was about me. Feeling invisible, exhausted, like everything I did wasn't enough. That doesn't excuse what I did. I know that. But I also know that I want to fix this. I want to fix us." I stared at her. "You broke something, Angela. You don't just glue that back together and call it fixed." "I know," she whispered. "But I'm willing to spend the rest of my life trying, if you'll let me." I didn't answer. I just stood and walked out again. A week later, I started seeing a therapist. Alone. I needed help sorting through the anger, betrayal, confusion. I didn't know if I wanted a divorce or to try to forgive her. What I knew was that I couldn't do either without understanding what had really happened between us, not just with Ryan, but over the years. To my surprise, Angela booked her own sessions, separately. She didn't try to push couples therapy. She gave me space, started leaving notes instead of texts, small ones, apologies, memories, hopes. Some I tore up, others I kept. Months passed. One evening, I came home to find her sitting in the backyard, bundled up with a blanket, staring at the stars. She didn't say anything when I walked out, just patted the seat beside her. I sat. "I miss you," she said quietly. "I miss who I thought you were." She nodded. "I miss that too." It wasn't an apology, but it was real. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I wanted to run. By our anniversary in July, I still hadn't made a decision. We'd shared dinners again, talked more, even laughed. But something inside me was still cautious, guarded. Then one night, she brought out a small box. "I found this in the closet," she said, handing it to me. Inside was an old photo of us, taken at a beach in Maine, years ago. We were both sunburned, holding cheap ice cream cones, smiling like fools. I remembered the trip, the laughter, the love that felt endless back then. "I keep looking at this," she said, "trying to remember what we had, wondering if we can ever find it again." I looked at her, and for the first time in a long time, I saw not the woman who cheated, but the woman who once believed in us more than anything. "Do you think we can?" I asked. She didn't answer with words. She just reached for my hand. "We're still not perfect. There are days I still question her, still replay the footage in my mind, wondering what else I didn't know. Trust takes time, sometimes more time than love. But we're rebuilding, slowly, carefully. We go to therapy together now. We've learned how to talk, how to listen, how to admit when we're wrong. Angela no longer goes on business trips without first checking in together, planning together. We communicate differently now, more openly, sometimes awkwardly. But it's real. The betrayal didn't destroy us, but it did burn us down to our foundation. And we had to decide, do we rebuild or walk away? For now, we're rebuilding. And while I don't know what the future holds, I know this. When she came back laughing, I thought it was the end. But what I found might just be the painful beginning of something stronger, something honest, something worth the fight.